What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to another live oil painting session. It's been a while. I hope everyone is doing well. I am going to start another Rembrandt study as we are kind of on a mission to paint all of the Rembrandt head studies possible. So, the reference is pinned in the comments section of this stream. I also, if you didn't notice, I didn't put the chat box over here because I just realized I should have known this a while ago. But I realized that as you're watching this as a pre-recorded video, the comments are already on the right side. Duh, I should have known that. But um, we'll have it set up like this for a little bit. Hi Ida, welcome, welcome. I have since the last time you saw me spent some time, invested some money in upgrading my setup. Though you can't see my setup, all you can see is this. You should have minimal distortion. It's some distortion, yes. As you can see, it's some distortion, but minimal is the key word. Lighting should be improved, so we'll see how it goes. And hopefully this will be the start of a new season of live stream paintings. Hey Tipu, welcome, welcome. Yep, I'm all good, all good. Just as usual, kind of taking a little break to try to regroup and figure out what to do with the content. And since the last time everyone saw me, I updated and hopefully upgraded all of my stuff, including what I'm painting on, which is this is a lead primed panel. Hi, Stephanie Thompson. This is a 8x10 linen lead primed. I actually just painted over like 30 different little paintings that were on these linens, but I chose to use a lead primer. So we're painting on a lead primer. It's been dry for weeks now, so there's no worries about that. I'm using traditional oil paint. I don't think I put anything in the description box just yet, because the description box kind of usually goes ignored. I'm guilty of that too when I watch other videos, but I'll update the description and all that in a little bit. So you'll be seeing more of me for a while now. Now that I have this set up, I did have some issues with it for the past couple weeks. I'm not the best like in terms of technology, but I think I resolved it. So my setup should be more consistent now. Hey Christina, thank you, thank you. Hey Ada, art. Is this biblical Rembrandt portrait? Yeah, it's a biblical Rembrandt portrait. Let's get my microphone closer to me so you have a chance of hearing what I am saying. Also, let me know if for some reason the microphone goes silent, which has happened with this setup before. But anyway, let's block in some little shapes here for the face. I'm using a raw umber and a tad bit of black, but mostly just raw umber. I'm only using a tad bit of black just because this raw umber, the Williamsburg raw umber, which I've had like forever, it's a French raw umber. It's a light. It's lighter than what I'm used to with say like Winsor Newton and all those other brands. So main triangle, the eyes, the nose, your basic proportion stuff. And mouth is gonna fit somewhere over here. Hey Jonas, thanks. Yeah, we'll be back for some time now. Like I said, I wanted to fix my streaming setup so that you wouldn't see so much glare and distortion from the angle. You actually head on, and this is angled slightly, as you see here. This panel is not falling off, but it's not angled so much like I did in 2020, where it was just like I was like reaching over it. So it's angled just enough where I don't have to reach over that much. It took some experimenting, some tinkering with it, and I'm still working some things out with it. So appreciate your patience if anything goes wrong with it. But for the most part, it seems to be working. So long as this works, we'll be here for at least a couple streams a week, about like an hour at a time. As you see, I'm starting this kind of loose. Not really, worried about any finite details or anything. Just covering light and dark. The basic stuff that you see me do on here. And I always emphasize, so for anyone that may be new to painting or new to these videos, and I know there's a lot of other painting videos out there now, which is it's good for everyone to have more info. I always emphasize studying the old masters as opposed to painting from photographs, which is what I guess the majority of content is. And I suggest painting from old master references because you really get a chance to emulate what it's like to paint from real life because they painted from life. Rembrandt, there were no photo references back then. They painted from life. We were seeing through kind of like the filter, a Rembrandt filter. Think about it that way. Everything is filtered to some extent now, right? You're seeing through the old master filter. A lot of work these days is excellent. I've seen what people have been able to do since 2020, 2021, and the 2020s basically. I've seen a lot of positive change in how people are painting, but the same notion of the photorealist is still out there, and there's a distinction between commercialism, like for example, painting something to sell it, or it's like a commission, which I think is what a lot of like professionals are doing to make their sales. What I'm showing you, I'm not commission. This is not a commission. This is I'm not being paid to give you whatever information other than like the YouTube ads, which really isn't much. But I'm showing you a way to practice, and this is one of my goals, a way to practice so that you can emulate what it's like to paint from real life, even though you're not painting from a live model. That's the goal, very simple one, very simple idea. This is more of a chill painting session, more of a chill painting stream. I'm not gonna go all wild and try to sell something to you. We're just gonna be here. I'll answer your questions, which by the way, your questions, feel free to send any comments that you want. I actually have a separate monitor now for comments, specifically for comments. So remember back in the day when I used to have to move my head down to the left to read your comments? Now I don't have to. Now I have a screen dedicated to your comments. So any comment, any question that you have will not be a problem for me. If anything, it will help with the stream. So feel free to ask any questions that you have or just hang out. It's all good. No pressure. All right, so we've got the basic head shape blocked in there. And now we can go ahead and start to tinker around with the light and dark. The palette consists of white, which is titanium white, yellow ochre, cadmium red, alizarin crimson, raw umber, and ivory black. And I have a little blue color on the right, which is a cerulean blue, but I'm not really using it. So just black is going to be my only blue for now. So let's go ahead and start to block in some little color for this Rembrandt study. Hey, Texas Spin. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm glad that you enjoy the content. This is going to be pretty chill, not super fast paced. Just hanging out, painting. Feel free to use this video to play in the background while you're painting. Nowadays, we all have different monitors and iPads and Androids and everything. So I know that you're more than capable of having multiple things playing at the same time. So hopefully this will at least make it to be one of the things that you're playing. I thin the paint out a little bit, but I'm not using any medium. In the beginning, I don't like to use medium. I'm using just the mineral spirits. I'm using Gamsol. But you can do this with water mixable. Hey, Dyer, Celeb, welcome, welcome. But feel free to use water mixable or traditional. They're going to be pretty similar. I used water mixable for like a year, almost a year, exclusively. And it's the same thing. You thin it out. But instead of the Gamsol, you're thinning it out with water. It does have a different thing where it pretend dries. At least that's what I call it. But not a big deal. You can use anything you want. Anything except for acrylic. The acrylic will dry on you. So that's a whole different thing. Light over here. Just looking at light and shadow shapes. Flat, as you can see. Keeping it fairly flat and actually quite thin. I wanna come back to this if possible tomorrow, if not in the next couple days. And this should be dry enough to continue to work on. Just flat. Simple shapes of light and shadow. As I always say, keep your shapes simple and easy, such that when the time comes to make changes, and they tend to always do, those changes are simple and easy to manage. It's also easier to see mistakes. It's easier to see proportion. It's just easier to see, period, when there's value. Light and dark, specifically. Pretty simple. I guarantee you, if you watch this video a couple times, you can paint this, and you might be watching this and you're already telling yourself, well, I can already paint that. And that's good. That kind of confidence is good. Hey Dyer, you want to do oil and acrylic painting, but you're moving so fast. I'm moving fast. Oh, whoops. You said you're moving fast, not me. I don't know. Let's see. So you're doing digital art. Oh, that's fine too. I mean, I've met a bunch of art friends that thanks for watching my videos. That do digital. Tell you what, if you want to do traditional art or like not digital, I would highly, highly suggest investing in using just a few colors. You don't have to spend a lot of money. And say like this is just white, yellow ochre, a red. I mean, it could be almost any red, really. And black, and an umber. Umber is just basically useful for drawing. Um, the materials in traditional is always, always going to be a fun thing to talk about. But for the most part, you don't got to spend that much money. And you can even start with like water mixable if you're afraid of like the odorless mineral spirits and all that stuff. This Cobra, this brand, well, there's paint on it now, but that there should be a B over there. It's a water mixable color, Cobra, and I've got a bunch of videos on it. They're cheap. All you need is that, something to paint on, and a brush. You can get started painting. Oh, no worries. Dyer, no worries. I really do appreciate the comments. I like that you're watching the videos. Added a little bit of orange to these midtones just because I wanted to add some color. As this is the beginning of this painting, it's very open to change. And I just like to push that orange here, and in the side there, so that the side plane itself, the entire side plane of the face is kind of unified into one. See that? It's kind of like its own little plane change. It makes it more 3D. Yeah, no problem there. You can even start out with just black and white if you want to. I will always suggest to everyone to start with oil paint, not acrylic. Acrylic is great for acrylic. And you can paint some really awesome landscapes with acrylic, like cityscapes. You can do a lot of stuff with acrylic. And you can even paint portraits with acrylic. But the problem with the acrylic is that it's not as forgiving as oil paint. So it dries on you very quickly, and that creates some challenges, um, which are not impossible to overcome, but they're not necessary for the development of your skill set as an artist. You don't want to have the materials fighting against you, basically, is what I'm saying. Think about playing a sport. I don't know, like think about playing. I always mention pool, so I won't mention it. Think about playing golf, even though I've never played golf. Somebody hands you a broomstick, and if you're Tiger Woods, then yeah, you can probably do really well with just a broomstick, and I'm sure that's possible. But why not get something that's gonna work with you instead of against you? And as someone wise told me, spend the money once. Um, of course, when you're playing a sport and you buy a equipment that's going to last a lifetime, then you can only spend the money once. In painting, you're going to keep spending the money, right? But at least get started with something that you know that you're going to consistently come back to. And you're going to build your skill set based on the same consistent materials. And you don't have to change anything unless you want to, like I did. I used the Cobras because I wanted to. I wanted to learn what it was like to use the water mixables. And they're great. They work really well. And it was something that I enjoyed doing, enjoyed learning. So I'm choosing to keep this rather simple, utilizing the beard to be some of the shadows. So I don't know if I've been back since New Year's and all that stuff. I don't think I have. So what's everyone been up to? So we've got a actually my streaming thing isn't telling me how many people are here, but um, well, let me know what you've been up to. What's everyone been doing? Are there any paintings on your easel at the moment? Any plans to paint something? Almost kind of reminds me of Hagrid. And I won't have any copyright problems with this because it's Rembrandt. Good old Rembrandt. Hey, Patricia, thank you. I almost could have titled this painting a certain wizard. But enough of that. So I know copyright's always a thing. Just what one really nice thing about painting the old masters is you never really have to worry about copyright. You can always post it online as a study of Rembrandt or a study of whatever, and they're quite impressive paintings. And for some reason, I don't know why, but for some reason people like to buy these. And they're usually intended to be studies, right? Not like something commercial. For some reason people buy these. Not sure why. But paint them and you'll see. Someone you know, family member or somebody you just met figures out that you're a painter and all of a sudden they see your study of a Rembrandt and they want to buy it for some reason. I can't tell. I don't know why, but they do. Yeah, Dyer, these are free for downloading for sure. Yeah. Yep. Copyright is not an issue from the 17th century. See these people, you painted a couple of onions recently, a vase of flowers. Cool. Yeah, I'm doing a still life of a skull at the moment, for my students. So yeah, still life. It's always good to have something going on with still life. At this point, I should probably get the dark of the background. And it's just a start. We'll continue it throughout the week. My streaming software seems to be doing pretty well, so I'm fairly confident with it. Yeah, I know that's too red, but whatever. It's not bothering me. I'll always get back to it later. Okay, so let's add some more dark. Add the darkness. This side of the face. And this will sink in when it dries, so I'll probably have to oil it out, which is not something that you have to do with all types of paint, but with this one, definitely. Let's fix this little thing first. Basically just added some gray. Used black and white. You can also just subtract back to the light of the canvas. But at this point, I want it to be more about what you see from a distance. There's many ways to approach a painting, but I'm thinking of the big picture, what this will look like from across the room. If you look at it closely, it's going to look like he's got a busted eye, but from a distance, it will have the same effect that a finished face would have. So just umber with black. So the lead white primer on this has more of kind of like a grit to it, I guess. So the paint, there's more kind of control over the brush, not like sandpaper, but it's more firm than if it were universal primed. It's actually got some skin color in the shadow here. Tad bit of light. Let's get that umber grayish color. Black, yellow, ochre turns greenish brown. I thin it out with some Gamsol. More umber and black. And rather than it being stressful, the start of a painting should always be fun. Always know that a painting is never finished upon starting it, which I know is an obvious statement, but at least in my early years when I started painting, I would always put so much emphasis in my mind on the start of a painting. I need to start it just right. And if I do that, everything will fall into place. And yes, if you're taking a class and there's a set of steps to do that, then it's true. But if you're painting on your own to just enjoy the motions, to explore, which is what these master studies should in part be, an exploration in your own approach, just relax a little bit. There's always room to change. As long as you keep the big shapes intact, you really have nothing to worry about. Big shapes, make sure there's contrast between light and dark. Keep this specificity to a minimum, meaning the details, keep it to a minimum or not. It's up to you. You could go, if you feel comfortable going right for the curvature of the eye socket and all that stuff, and go for it. I've done that before in here. Just many ways to start. All techniques meet somewhere in the middle. That is the middle stages. Gosh, this looks so much like Hagrid. So remember, if there's anything you want me to explain or address, just let me know. Otherwise, I'm just gonna hang out and just paint, just chilling, painting. So from Jonas here, what do you think of this? Well, I want to paint fast. I still want to keep my time paint a portrait as I enjoy more slow process. What do you think? It hinders you as an artist by painting slower? I think you should, which is not much of an answer, but I think you should explore both speeds, all speeds. Take all approaches that you can. Just like when I was younger, I was told to study from as many different artists as I can. And the thing is, we're all we're all unique, and we're all fully capable of learning. But the problem is sometimes we can hit a plateau in our learning, in regardless of what we're doing, and regardless of what we're learning. We can hit a plateau studying only one way, one speed, one approach, and sometimes it's quite refreshing to see it from another perspective, another vantage point, and all of a sudden that blockage that may have existed that caused a plateau in your development is wiped away, and then you apply everything that you learned in changing from, say, like one particular approach to the next, and then you pass that plateau, and then all of a sudden you go back to what you had done before. That's why I think it's a good idea to study different methods. Not just mine. There's bajillions of people here on YouTube doing art tutorials and things like that. So watch them. See what is more fitting for you. Um, it's good to have a variety. There's no reason to only have to paint fast or to paint slow. Number one, though, advice I'll give you is if you're not having fun painting what you're painting, it will show. And that's what one of my teachers, Robin Fry, told me in the past. You can tell, if you can look at some Sargent paintings, you can tell he didn't want to be painting that particular painting. But Sargent's still a great painter, of course. But if something is more fun than something else, that gives you an immediate advantage over starting or working in a way that's not fun. All right, take care, Dyer. Thanks for joining. Oh, good, Jonas. I'm glad you like the explanation. You're trying out both ways. Now, for me, it's always been a lot of fun to go with direct painting. However, I do teach, especially my more beginner students. I teach through monochrome and glazing, the classical approach, because it's easier to grasp because you don't have to worry about these mixtures. This is nice. I'm so glad I can actually see everyone's comments on a screen next to me, and I don't have to like squint or like hurt my eyes to try to see it. really neat. I think this is the start of something really nice. Hey, Paulo, thanks for watching from Portugal. Oh, good. I'm glad that you've been watching for a while and it's your first time on the stream. Welcome, welcome. Well, there shall be more of me for the foreseeable future with these live streams. Granted, my my limited knowledge of technology. Granted, this streaming setup works. And it should. I mean, it's working now, right? Hey, Prima Art. My name? Yupari is my name. Yupari. It's actually my last name, but it's the name that I go by. My first name, which you might find on Facebook, I don't really go by my first name. My first name is a mystery. Though if somebody knows my first name, feel free to comment it. I'll give you a little scavenger hunt there. My first name is a mystery. Andrea, oh, welcome, welcome. Thank you, thank you. Glad you like the videos. You're welcome here anytime. And like I was saying to everyone, I've changed my streaming setup, hopefully for the better. I feel like I got like a whole broadcasting thing, and I posted it on the community section on Patreon, and I also posted it not on Patreon, sorry, on YouTube on the community section. I also posted it on my Instagram. Quite proud of it. There's an overhead light. This isn't distorted like it usually was before. There's like zero glare. Um, I've got 3 different monitors. One is a laptop. One is a computer that has my streaming software so I can see the connection. And that one also has the reference. And then to my right, I have the comment section. So it's pretty cool. Pretty neat. I've always wanted to be able to do this. And it seems to be working, everyone. Seems to be working. You're a wizard. You're a wizard. What? This painting is telling me you're a wizard. By the way, I'm using just size 2 filbert bristle brushes. Like I said, I know I didn't put anything in a description box. I kind of forgot. But at least I posted the reference. It's pinned on the comment section. So if you want to paint this along with me, go ahead. It is totally free for you to do. You don't have to pay me a cent. You don't gotta pay anyone. Yes, there's gonna be some ads on the stream, but you know, there's ads on everything nowadays. Except for my Spotify. No can do. So one thing that's going really unmentioned is the audio. So let me know what you think. I actually haven't had this microphone. I haven't been able to use it. I don't even want to move it because sometimes it'll get disconnected. But I haven't been able to use it really since about like I want to say 2022. I think the cable broke, and I finally got a replacement one that works. So let me know how's the audio for you. See, I like this. I could be closer to it, which would sound better, but it should be blocking out most of the background noise. There's not really any background noise here, but I noticed there's still always some static when I use the computer. You know what? It's actually already starting to sink in. As you see that, that was this value. I mean, this value here was this one. So it's already starting to sink in, which is not an issue. I want to return to it if all goes well. I want to return to it tomorrow. Which is why I'm painting this way. I'm not painting thick. So it should be dry enough to work on tomorrow. On the reference, there's almost no light here. Always watch out for this edge. This is the number one edge that everyone makes too long, too sharp. You know what's kind of nuts? I never really thought about it, but I think the reason why some of us make this too sharp is because of this. I've never done this before, but yo, he like this, like that quickly, I can make him have hair loss. Now I'm 32, so this is gonna happen soon. I know this is gonna happen soon. But painting is the only time ever, other than Photoshop, that you can do this. Ta-da! No more hair loss. And you know, I've got a lot of it, right? Like a ton of hair on my head. Let's see if this thing will come on camera. This is all hair from my head. I don't want to lose it, but you know, I think that's one reason. And pardon my goofiness here, but I think that's one reason that we tend to make this too sharp is because we don't want to let it go. We do not want to let it go. And I think, and if you didn't think of that before, or maybe you did, and you're like, well, duh, why didn't you probably think of that before? Was because I didn't think of it before. But now I kind of thought of that. Like, that's why we tend to have a tendency to make that too sharp. Could be one of many reasons. See that? It's a soft edge. Now it looks like the hair is actually on the scalp there. Hey Satch, welcome to the stream. Hey Diego, you let it go years ago, man. I know the feeling. Just yesterday, I yanked out my first white hair, and I saved it in a jar. My first one on my head, at least that I noticed. Kind of interesting. It was like fully, like like that. It was like titanium white. I'm like, whoa. Um, I know it's not really useful to the painting, but at least this way you'll remember. Keep that edge soft. If anything you get from that little conversation, keep that edge soft. And now you'll never forget it. And you've become that much better of a portrait painter. Made his face a little too wide. Hey Satch, I am using titanium white, yellow ochre, cadmium red, alizarin crimson, raw umber, and ivory black. The topic today is just starting, just getting some colors going for this Rembrandt master study. The reference is linked in the description box of the video. I'm painting thin and I'm not using any medium, just odorless mineral spirits Gamsol. So just this in a little cup, and make sure to have only a little bit. You don't need a ton of it. The goal is I'm painting this really thin. Well, the topic is I'm starting it off with big shapes, painting it really thin, but not super thin, but thin enough that you can see the texture of the tone of the canvas, so that I can come back to it tomorrow, if not tomorrow, the next day, and continue to work on this portrait. Of course, there is some light of the clothing he's wearing. And it's yellowish, but I think it probably was not yellowish when Rembrandt painted it. So we'll paint it a tad bit more gray, meaning towards the blue. I'm following this line here to help me with the drawing. Okay, so I put his neck out too far. So I'm gonna follow this line. That's why I said oil paint's so forgiving. You can just go right into it and it stays wet. Workable. Yeah, no problem, Satch. Okay. Now we have this light. The tone of the canvas was initially gray, and I've got a ton of them now that are toned gray. Perfectly kind of middle gray, and the point of the gray is that it makes the darks look like darks, and the lights look like lights, which makes it easier to gauge your values and your colors with any subject. I just like to work on a toned surface, and if possible, oil toned, oil primed. And this was oil primed, and I used this right here, Williamsburg lead oil ground with a tad bit of alkyd black to make it gray. And I painted over a bunch. I think I painted over 30 something paintings that I knew I wasn't going to do anything with. So I've got a ton of them now. So that's why I said you're going to see me here a lot now on YouTube. So that's one way that you can reuse your paintings that you may not have anything to do with after you've painted them. Um, the lead oil ground isn't going to bother you. It's not going to give you any problems with your health as long as you wear gloves, You don't sand anything. It won't give you any problems, and you absolutely don't need it. You can use just titanium white as your primer. You don't need lead. There's really no need for it. Um, I just wanted to use it because the old masters used it. Setch, there are no greens or blues on my palette. Yes, there is one blue, and I'm not using it, but it's just here because it's just here. It's this one. Um, this is cerulean blue. It's just on my palette. I'm not. I might use it if I want to. Like for example, if I want to really quickly make this sclera cooler, it might be the only place I use it. And this is cerulean blue. You don't need it. You could use ultramarine blue. But black and white makes a blue anyway. It's bluish, so you could just use black and white, and it'll create a gray for you. At least with the Rembrandt old master study, you don't need a ton of color. And yes, I was trained uh, as a as a youngster to use 22 colors. Every plane change is a color change and all that stuff, and that's great for color painting, for like a color study, impressionist kind of painting. But with a portrait, you don't need it. It could use it, but it doesn't need it. Does my Tesla need a shiny set of rims? It doesn't need it, but I would want it if I had a Tesla. But I don't even have a Tesla. I just have a Nissan Versa. Do I need a Tesla? No. Do I want a Tesla? No. I actually want a Nissan 370. That would be nice. But however, I would actually like a Tesla if I had one. Um, but for example, wants and needs. Does the portrait need blues and greens? For this case specifically, no, it doesn't need it. Now, if I was painting a model outdoors in the sunlight, surrounded by cherry blossoms and birds and all these things, then yes, I would need it. For example, if for some reason gas prices went up incredibly more than they have in certain places, I would need an electric car, probably would need one. Um, wants versus needs. Different types of paintings, different wants and needs, or at least different needs. I think we've gone pretty far with this, so I don't want to get into any extreme subtleties with it just yet. So it might be almost that time, really, where we let the painting sit for a little bit before we return to it. Like I said, I should be returning here more frequently now. Um, Maybe not so much in the evenings as we did during our last sessions, but earlier in the day will be more practical, at least for me at the moment. But the good news is you'll be able to watch these videos as a pre-recorded video. And hopefully you'll play these videos while you're cooking or you're painting or you're cleaning the house or maybe play it as a podcast while you're driving to work or something. That's my intention with these videos. I'm not trying to sell anything to you. I just want you to have something that you can play on the side. And you'll excuse the ads, hopefully. So from Satyra, that's the magic of Impressionism. what you got and use it well so it's not wasted. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's not gonna be wasted. It's just not used in certain paintings. Like with this one, I'm not gonna use impressionism because I don't have to. I don't need to push the color of the light in relation to the color of the shadow. What I need is to push the form, and that's what Rembrandt did. The form, he pushed the form in a simple way. These kind of paintings are very deceptive. They look simple in that they don't look photographic, but there's a lot of stuff in these planes, in these shapes. There's so much subtlety and nuance and things that even I can't quite pick up yet, but I will. And we'll pick them up together. Like I said, these are more slow, kind of chill painting sessions. I guess we got a lot done somewhat in about an hour. Oh, okay. So you're Seth, you wrote what I mean. Use what's available as in the palette in reference to your shiny rim statement. Yeah, use what's available, right? I don't need to use shiny rims. I just use what's available. Exactly. Use what's available. Exactly. Um, there's so much that you can do with paint. Let me tell you. I've done paintings that look like this with a 22 color palette, and I didn't need it, but I had it. I still have it. I still have 22 colors I could use if I want to, but there really isn't much of a need in my mind for it. Um, and that always changes. It always varies. But that's what makes painting so wonderful. It's so versatile. But thank you for everyone that left a comment, everyone that left a like, everyone that will be watching this in the future, whether you're watching this tonight, tomorrow, next week, next month, 10 years from now. I really appreciate you watching these videos, and hopefully you would have gained something, if not just some comfort, just hanging out with us, painting, just a relaxing time spent together. All right, that'll be our last little light for the highlight of the face on the eyelid. Like I said, my streaming software has been upgraded. My streaming setup has been upgraded. By software, I don't know why I said software. I have the same software. My streaming setup, meaning position of my light, angle of the camera, multiple monitors. We've got a designated microphone. That's all been upgraded. So hopefully we'll be able to do some more of these streams. Remember, sometimes I may not be on YouTube for a while, but don't worry. I won't disappear completely. I'll always come back for you. I'll always be there for you. And we'll be doing some paintings together. So once again, thank you so much for watching. I wish you all the very best in all of your artwork. And I'll see you on the next one.